Ever wonder, have I been manipulated? Well, the answer is probably yes. We've all been subject at some point in our lives to someone else's manipulation, be it so-called friends, people at work, or even family members. The weird thing about being manipulated is, you often don't know it's happening until it's way too late to do anything about it. But after this video, we promise you'll leave with a complete perspective on how people are being manipulated on a daily basis. Grab a drink, Alux, or let's explore this one together. Here are 15 signs you're being manipulated. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. You know what to think, not how to think. Look at it like this. How many people do you know that are actually critical thinkers? Probably not that many. According to the University of Virginia, only 10 to 15% of the world population has developed their critical thinking skills. And this is quite scary considering how society works in the current day and age. The better your critical thinking skills are, the lower the chances of you being subjected to someone else's manipulation. This is precisely why you're on this path, Aluxer. Proper education is the best way to safeguard against thought police, as George Orwell called them in the book 1984. Make sure your actions are a direct cause of your own free will and critical thinking. Number 2. You are poor. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the famous Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, said the following: "Everything is designed to keep you poor." And by now, you already know that we agree with him. Poor and uneducated people are easier to manipulate, it's just a fact. Numerous studies have shown that there is a direct correlation between high levels of education and wealth. People who think education stops in college are naive. Okay, but what does this have to do with manipulation? Well, it's quite simple, actually. The rat race is real, and sadly for many people, it's a way of life. They've been lied to and manipulated into chasing the wrong kind of happiness, sacrificing their freedom in the process. Watching Alux videos and pushing a higher level of education solves this. And as a side note, Henry David Thoreau realized there is something wrong with the way we live 2 centuries ago. In his book Walden, he said something that still rings true today, maybe more than ever. Most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Do you agree with him, Aluxer? Let us know in the comments below. Number 3. You are obedient. Now, because we already mentioned Thoreau, did you know he also said this? Disobedience is the true foundation of liberty. The obedient must be slaves. Now, this quote might seem a little bit archaic at first, but what he's hinting at here is civil disobedience. The more obedient you are, the more susceptible you are to manipulation. Why? Because you rely on others and not yourself. You are not a leader in your own life. Civil disobedience doesn't mean rejecting the law. Your freedom and rights extend as far as other people's, so be careful not to invade their garden in the process. We encourage you to question everything and to create your own path in life. Self-reliance is what separates successful people from the crowd. But before you do that, make sure you build the correct mindset by adopting proper values. You apologize too much. If you ever find yourself apologizing too much, just know this: it's a sign of low self-esteem. Psychology even has a term for people who behave like that: obsequious. People with low self-esteem are always prone to manipulation because they simply can't help the urge to always please others. There's a fine line between acting kind, apologizing when you're wrong, and being someone's servant. You don't get any real respect if you're acting like that. We encourage you to be a nice human being, but not to the detriment of your own self-esteem. Just do what feels right to you and don't forget to stand up for yourself. The right people will respect you for that. Otherwise, you're just going to be somebody's puppet. Number 5. You don't understand or control your emotions. Successful and independent people are masters when it comes to emotional intelligence. This skill is a must-have if you want to safeguard your thoughts and beliefs. When emotions go up, IQ goes down. That's because we can't be rational anymore. And given the chance, people will always take advantage of that aspect of you. By learning how emotions work and integrating them, you can save yourself a lot of headaches. That's how you win arguments, build confidence, and get ahead in life. Be assertive, and whenever you see someone trying to get you emotional, just keep this in mind. They're probably trying to manipulate you. Number 6. You fail at setting healthy boundaries. How many times have you caught someone trying to hijack your beliefs and values? Probably at least a few times in your life, depending on your age. That's the moment when you have to set some healthy boundaries. If not, the hijack will continue, and by accepting that, you'll eventually be manipulated. When you see someone attempting that, just take a step back and look for signs of gaslighting. A lot of people are acting like this unconsciously. So the first step in fixing that dynamic is for you to communicate what you've observed. That way you can let the other person know that you're wise to whatever they're trying to pull. Number 7. You don't read good books. Because we mentioned education and books in this video, we find this to be a valid point too. There's a lot of bad content out there and as many bad books that can waste your time. You have to think about the cost of opportunity. Time is your most valuable resource, and because we're talking about manipulation scenarios here, we suggest you read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power book. And if you're into all-time classics, Machiavelli's book The Prince will serve you just as well. Understanding human nature is key if you want to expose manipulative people and their schemes. By arming yourself with proper knowledge, you'll become a master observer when it comes to social interactions. And as a direct result, you'll be able to recognize sneaky people before they get too close to your personal life. Number 8. You blindly listen to politicians. Now, this should come as no surprise. Many politicians got their position of power through selling half-truths and full lies. Their behavior is manipulative by default. You would understand this if you read Machiavelli's book we mentioned earlier. The truth is that two competing politicians are just different faces of the same coin. The illusion that we have the freedom of choice lies precisely in that. People who are Machiavellian by nature will always follow their own interests, and their own interests usually don't align with yours. Keep that in mind the next time you're listening to a political debate. Most of them lack values like true honesty and will resort to the dirtiest manipulation tactics to accomplish their goals, especially if you live in an underdeveloped country. Number 9. You can't read people. Reading people is one of those skills that you must develop as early in life as possible. It'll save you a lot of drama and wasted time. The way you practice this is by being an active observer of daily human interactions. There's always a reason behind every action, so pay attention to what people say and do. It's the little things that say the most. See what we did there? Look at their body language, facial expressions, and how they behave when they're around other people. In time, you'll find yourself spotting patterns and you'll get better and better at it. That's how you filter quality people and real friends out from the rest of the mob. If you don't know how to do this, they're just going to take advantage of you. Number 10. You're working a 9-to-5. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the author of the best-selling books Anti-Fragile and Skin in the Game, famously said, the 3 most harmful addictions are heroin, carbohydrates, and a monthly salary. Now, that's a hard hit, but it's true whether we accept it or not. We may not like it, but a monthly salary won't get you into that 3% club. Instead, it'll create an employee mindset instead of incentivizing you to build your own story. It's a form of manipulation not a lot of people talk about, and for good reason. Most people just prefer competing in the rat race. It's more comfortable, but at the same time, it breeds mediocrity. Having a meaningful life requires effort and brain power. A comfortable life requires compliance, but it won't bring you any satisfaction. It's up to you to decide what path you want to walk. If you're an Aluxer, we already know you have ambitions, so take this as a sign to start working on that project you've always dreamed of. We know you've got what it takes. Number 11. You are reactive, not assertive. Reactive people are like a volcano that's about to erupt at any time. That's a sign of emotional immaturity, and they're good prey for those who know how to trigger them. To be more precise, imagine the following scenario. You're working in a casual office, and one of your colleagues wants to get rid of you for whatever reason. They know that you've got an impulsive temperament, so they piss you off intentionally in order to get an emotional reaction from you in front of everyone. Then your manager finds out, and you get in trouble. And congratulations, you've just fallen prey to manipulation, and you are in danger of losing your job. Who won? The way you fix that is by becoming emotionally mature and assertive, rather than reactive. Instead of reacting, you need to respond in a calm and relaxed way. People won't bother you anymore because they know that you can handle anything. Number 12. You think you're always right. The problem with this mindset is it creates an echo chamber around you. It's nice if you trust your intuition, but if you think you're right all the time, that's usually a red flag. Humans simply don't work like that. You can't know it all. Self-manipulation is a real thing, and stubborn people are the most prone to it. They always have an argument ready before you can even make a point. Smart and successful people know how to remain objective, and they listen more than they talk. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong place. We mention this quote because it can create scenarios where your life becomes an echo chamber. That's how you become a victim of self-deception. Being wrong is just fine, but you have to accept it. It's part of the process and a mark of a highly educated individual. Socrates said it a long time ago. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Number 13. You lie often. The more you lie to others, the more you lie to yourself. This too falls under the self-deception category. The more you lie to others, the more you're going to force yourself into living in a fantasy world. That's how you manipulate yourself into thinking you are someone else, and smart people will just smell your BS. Lying in general is just a bad idea. The right people will respect you for your honesty. Besides, doing it often will affect your integrity, self-esteem, and your relationship with other people. Number 14. You don't understand human nature. Let's explain this one by telling a little story about our past. Do you know when the first betrayal in evolution took place? It happened millions of years ago. When the first forms of life realized they could eat other microorganisms instead of producing their own energy. Fast forward hundreds of millions of years, and here we are trying to be better. The truth is that in life, a lot of people will act like that and try to get ahead by using other people. It's sadly human nature for a lot of us, and nature may seem unfair at times. Make sure you avoid those people. They will do whatever it takes to manipulate and use you and your time as their resource. Number 15. You believe in conspiracy theories. Seriously, guys, the large majority of conspiracy theories are just a good laugh. Yes, we live in a crazy world, but the reason conspiracy theories get traction is they give you something to believe in. They don't have to be true, they just have to give you the answers that you want to hear. As mentioned at point number 1, critical thinking is what helps you to filter out all this noise. If you enjoy watching them, well, that's fine. Just make sure you remain objective and don't fall victim to manipulation attempts. And yes, okay, we know Alex Jones might have been kinda right a couple of times, but most of his stories are wrong, dead wrong. And that's a topic for another time. And with that, Alexers, that's a wrap. Have you ever been manipulated? And if so, what's the most valuable lesson you've learned from it? Please share with us in the comments. And for sticking with us this long, you know you're getting a bonus. Number 16. You're not physically strong. physical manipulation is one of the most dangerous ones out there. A human needs two things to function properly: a healthy mind and a strong body. If you lack one of these, you set yourself up for uncomfortable situations. Another person can and very well might use their physical strength to dominate and manipulate you if given the chance. It's one of the first things we learn in childhood when we come face to face with bullies. So we encourage you to take good care of your body and become the most capable version of yourself. Combine all of this, and you'll earn everyone's respect and appreciation. Thanks for watching, Aluxer, and don't forget to tip us with a thumbs up if you learned something new today. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.